There's a man walking this earth right now. His heart has been quietly prepared to love you in ways you've only whispered about in prayer. And when I revealed the third sign that proves he's already moving towards you, everything that's felt confusing about your waiting season is going to crystallize into perfect clarity. In the next 45 seconds, I'm going to show you why that strange peace you've been feeling lately isn't resignation but revelation. And by the time this message ends, you'll recognize the divine fingerprints all over your current season that you've been too close to see clearly. What I'm about to share isn't speculation or wishful thinking. These are actual spiritual markers that appear when God is orchestrating the final movements before a divine appointment in your love life. Some of these signs are external confirmations you can point to, but others are internal shifts so subtle you might have dismissed them as random changes in your mood or perspective. The third sign in particular is one you've absolutely experienced recently, possibly even this week, and when I name it, you're going to get chills because you'll realize God has been speaking to you in a language you didn't know how to interpret until this very moment. Welcome to God's Prophecy Message channel, where we don't just deliver generic encouragement, but specific revelation about what God is doing in your life right now, in real time with your actual circumstances. If this is your first time joining us, you need to subscribe immediately. Turn on all notifications because the messages that come through this channel aren't random. They're assigned, and you being here right now is no accident. Before we go deeper into these signs, I need you to partner with me in something that's going to activate your faith for what's coming. Go to the comments right now and type these 3 words. God is moving, not casually, not as a routine interaction, but as a prophetic declaration over your situation. When you type God is moving, you're agreeing with heaven that something is happening in the spiritual realm that hasn't manifested in the natural realm yet. You're telling every doubt, every fear, every discouraging thought that you refuse to be moved by what you see, and you're choosing to be anchored in what God has promised. So pause for just a second, type God is moving in the comments, and then come right back. Because what I'm about to reveal is going to connect dots you didn't even know were part of the same picture. Let me start by addressing the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about, but everyone is thinking about. You've been waiting longer than you expected. You've watched the timeline you had in your head come and go. You've celebrated other people's engagements while wondering when yours would come. You've had moments where you questioned whether God really heard your prayers, or if maybe, just maybe, this particular desire wasn't meant for you. Those thoughts have crossed your mind more than once, haven't they? And here's what I need you to understand before we dive into the signs. Those moments of doubt don't disqualify you from receiving what God has promised. Those questions don't cancel your blessing. Your humanity, your weariness, your occasional frustration with the process doesn't change God's commitment to you. Psalm 37 verse 4 tells us to delight ourselves in the Lord, and He will give us the desires of our heart. Notice it doesn't say delight perfectly, delight without ever doubting, delight without ever getting tired. It says delight in the Lord, which means finding your joy in Him even when the waiting feels heavy. And when you do that imperfectly but consistently, He still honors His promise. Now, let me walk you through these signs with the kind of specificity that's going to make you feel like I'm reading your journal. The first sign that your husband is on his way is this. You've stopped obsessively analyzing every man you meet as a potential spouse. There was a season when every introduction felt loaded with possibility. Every new man at church, at work, in your social circle, triggered an internal evaluation process. Could he be the one? Is this how it starts? Should I be reading into this conversation? But something has shifted recently. You still notice men, you're still open to connection, but there's no longer this desperate scanning of every male interaction for romantic potential. You've become more relaxed, more natural, or genuinely yourself in mixed company because you're not performing or auditioning anymore. This isn't apathy. This is readiness. This is you having released the outcome to God so completely that you're no longer trying to force connections or manufacture chemistry. And here's the spiritual principle at work. When you stop chasing, you position yourself to be found. When you stop auditioning, you become attractive to the person who's supposed to choose you. Proverbs 19 verse 14 says that houses and wealth are inherited from parents, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. The same principle applies in reverse. A godly husband is from the Lord, not from your manipulation, not from your strategizing, not from your desperate efforts to make something happen. When you've truly released this into God's hands, it shows up in how you interact with men, and that release is a clear indicator you're ready for what's coming. The second sign is going to sound strange, but pay attention to whether this resonates. You've been experiencing unusually vivid dreams about scenarios involving partnership, commitment, or being chosen. These aren't necessarily dreams about weddings or specific people. They might be dreams where you're working alongside someone on a project and feeling perfectly in sync. They might be dreams where someone is defending you, protecting you, prioritizing you. They might be dreams where you feel seen, understood, cherished in ways that feel almost too good to be true. You wake up from these dreams with a feeling you can't quite shake, something that lingers throughout your day. Here's what's happening. God speaks to us in dreams when our conscious mind is too busy, too skeptical, or too defended to receive what he wants to say. Job 33 verses 14 through 16 tell us that God speaks once, yes twice, though man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men while slumbering on their beds. Then he opens the ears of men and seals their instruction. These dreams aren't your subconscious creating fantasies. They're prophetic previews. They're God showing you the emotional landscape of what's coming, so that when it arrives in the natural, your spirit will recognize it. You'll have a sense of familiarity of, this is what I've been sensing. Even if the details don't match exactly what you dreamed, pay attention to the themes in these dreams. If you keep dreaming about being protected, your future husband likely has a strong protective instinct. If you keep dreaming about being chosen from among other options, your future husband is likely someone who will pursue you decisively despite other possibilities. If you keep dreaming about working together on something meaningful, your marriage will likely have a strong purpose component beyond just personal happiness. These dreams are intel from heaven about what's being prepared. Now let's talk about the third sign, the one you've absolutely already noticed. You've started feeling content, genuinely content, with your single season in a way you haven't felt before. This isn't you pretending to be fine while secretly dying inside. This isn't you performing happiness for social media or putting on a brave face for your friends. This is actual deep-rooted peace about where you are right now. You look at your life and you think, I'm actually okay. More than okay. I'm building something meaningful. I'm enjoying my freedom. I'm making decisions without consulting anyone. I'm discovering who I am outside of a relationship. You're no longer tortured by wedding announcements. You're no longer comparing your journey to everyone else's timeline. You're no longer feeling left behind when another friend gets engaged. Instead, you've embraced the gift of this season. You're traveling when you want. You're pursuing goals that matter to you. You're investing in friendships. You're developing skills. You're deepening your relationship with God. You're becoming more of yourself, not less. And here's why this is the most powerful sign of all. True contentment isn't possible when you're desperately grasping for something you don't have. True contentment comes when you've surrendered so completely to God's timing that you can find joy in the present moment without needing it to look different. Philippians 4 verse 11 says that Paul learned to be content whatever the circumstances. That word learned is crucial. Contentment isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you develop through intentional practice of gratitude, surrender, and trust. When you've reached genuine contentment in your single season, it's a sign that you've done the internal work God needed you to do. You're no longer looking for a husband to complete you because you've discovered that you're already complete in Christ. And ironically, tragically, beautifully, the moment you become genuinely content being single is usually the moment you become ready for marriage. Because now you're entering a partnership from wholeness, not from emptiness. You're bringing your full self, not half a self, hoping someone else will provide the missing pieces. Let me explain why this third sign is so critical. When you were desperate for a relationship, you were operating from lack. You were sending out an energy, a vibration, a spiritual frequency that said, I need something, I don't have to be okay. And here's the hard truth about that energy. It attracts the wrong people, or it repels the right ones. Men who are healthy